at Allen. And I'm gonna give you a prime example. We can segue this into some of their recruiting. Clark took a DB out of the transfer portal from Troy University. Now I know Troy, Alabama's not big, but Troy University is usually pretty decent in football year in and year out. They play in the Sun Belt. They played my Duke Blue Devils in one of them damn bowls. I think they played in the Birmingham Bowl, and they took a DB from them named Tavares Williams out of Troy. Clark Keaton can get that kid at Clark. You in Atlanta.
Right.
Why wouldn't you? Then it is for you to get this kid at Allen in Columbia. He wouldn't have been able to get this kid in Columbia at Allen, but you can get this kid in Atlanta at Clark. So he's going to have some big time transfers, and I really like the recruiting class that they have announced so far. Because I'm sure there's going to be some others that's going to be added down the line.
So I pulled up the mid-year transfers for Clark Atlanta. Clark has put in a lot of work, mainly at Allen University. Okay, they bringing in 8 players from Allen. As you said, they have other players. They even got a player from Jackson State.
Yep.
they have kind of diversified their portfolio. Right, this is not a strictly high school based team. Clark has now moved into the 21st century. Transfer portal is happening. They have a couple of guys that I really love, a couple of guys I don't know much about. But I'll say the guys that stand out, a guy like Armand Harris being on this list. I think that was the biggest guess for this.
That's a big get. That's a big get for them. David Wright, homeboy. You got to go. And I like some of the transfers they got, and you might not know about some of these kids yet, Flitz. You know, they got an offensive lineman out of Morgan State named Janae Sumner. They got another offensive lineman named Demetrius Singleton that's from Shorter. You know, they got a couple DBs, the Williams kid from Troy. They got another kid, another Singleton, Jonathan Singleton, another long DB out of Cumberland, which is the NAIA program out of Tennessee that's pretty decent year in and year out. You know, so they have some pieces. They also got Virgil Young, who was at Lane. The wide receiver that was at Lane. And Coach Keaton also signed some high school kids. You know, they got an offensive lineman named Derek McIntosh out of Michigan. Big offensive lineman. They got a local defensive lineman edge rusher named Antonio Steiner. And he's about 6'3", about 240. 6'3", 6'4", about. Yeah. And so, you know, one thing that we always worried about with Clark was, are they going to get bigger? They going to get bigger across the line? They have got bigger across the line. And like, you know, and Keaton also signed 3 quarterbacks. He signed 3 high school quarterbacks this year. He signed 3 high school quarterbacks. So if everything holds true, you got David Wright, you got Andrew Banks, you got the Dick Deshaun Vincent kid, and Heath Williams still got another year, and you signed 3 other kids. That's a hell of a quarterback room.
They about as deep as Morehouse now, about 7 deep,
hey.
8 deep.
Well, you know, being a football coach, like I tell anybody, you know, you're gonna have somebody say, "Why you got so many quarterbacks?" Well, you want a quarterback for each year, so you know you got 4 because you want one for each year. Then you want a red shirt, so that's 5. Then you want 2 projects, so that's 7. Your 2 walk-ons. That's what you want. Yeah, it might not be enough reps to go around, but your 2 project kids are your scout team quarterback. You want to see what you have. You know what I'm saying? So the days of being where we ain't got the 3 quarterbacks or 2, you can't win with that because if 2 of those go down, then you're bringing in a receiver to play quarterback. The good thing about this year, especially with the SIAC and Division II period, you got the week 0 game, so now you can get a bye to kind of get healthy. Before you were playing 10 games in 10 weeks or 11 games in 11 weeks. So if somebody got hurt, you really never got a week off for that person to kind of get back healthy. So you have to be able to have quarterbacks. You go to some other programs and some other Division II programs like Shorter in the state or like the South Atlantic. These guys got 20, 25 linemen on the roster. You look at Morehouse and Clark, it's 13 linemen. They got 25, 27 linemen on it because you want to bring in 5 linemen a year, and you want to have one, then you want to have 5 that red shirt, so they kind of grow up together. Right. So you want to have those 25. One thing that our rosters in the conference look like, we have 13 linemen, but we have 26 damn DBs and none of them's over 6 foot. So we kind of hustling. Yeah, you got to have depth in that quarterback room. You got to have depth in that offensive line room. You have to. The way this conference is not 3 yards in a cloud of dust anymore. This conference now throws the football. You got David Wright. You got Kelvin Durham. You had Klein Peter. You had Russell.
We had Dennis.
You had Dennis. You got Bryson Williams down at Tuskegee. You got Polo at Lane. You had, I forget, I'm just gonna call him Alec. You had Alec at
His name was Alec, I did look it up.
Alec Lewis. You had Alec Lewis at Central State. So the conference is throwing the ball. So you have to be able to rotate bodies in. You have to.
Yeah, it's a different game.
It's a different ball game.
And it still starts up front, which is
the trenches is still the.
Yeah, we saw the teams that usually win it are usually the teams that control the trenches. We seen Tuskegee and Bennett go up to the championship. 2 teams that controlled the trenches. This past year, Albany kind of snuck in there. They did a decent job in the trenches. But Bennett, again, brought it with Jaden Broad and Lou Danellis, all those different guys. That is what a championship team is in the SIAC. It's going to be built up front. So seeing this Clark Atlanta team go ahead and make a true commitment to getting bigger on the defensive line and getting deeper on the offensive line shows me that Coach Teddy Keaton has a commitment to winning, and he also understands what it takes to win in this conference.
What it takes to win. We talked to Coach Keaton after they played Benedict last year. And he was talking about that the kid, he was actually transferred from Benedict. I forget his name. He was number 97. He transferred to South Carolina State.
Jaden Broughton.
Not Broughton. But Coach Keaton, we couldn't block him. And he was a freshman. We couldn't block him. That's what the trenches is like every game. Benedict with Broughton and Danellis and Lou, then you go down to Fort Valley with Alderman and what they do. Then Albany defense is usually good year in and year out. Then you got Deeds over at that was at Tuskegee. Then
at Kentucky State.
Yeah, the big boy. They got it's a really good league. And you have to be solid in the trenches. If you're not solid in the trenches, you're gonna get your head busted open. And I love what Coach Keaton has done. He has addressed the offensive line and he has addressed the defensive line as well. And they're gonna continue to address those 2 positions throughout the summer as well. Recruiting is not over by any means.
It's still going. And that Benedict lineman we was talking about was Joshua Barker.
Joshua Barker.
He's a beast down there. So, moving on from Clark, we gave you a nice breakdown recruiting, and we'll continue as the offseason goes on. Close to the spring game, we'll see more recruits. We got to talk about more as offense coordinator.
Here we go. I don't think he's coming. They